Want the inside scoop on this game and all things Trojans? Be sure to sign up for the 3 Torches presented by Smart and Final. It's a free newsletter that'll hit your email inbox 3 times a week with game info, player insights, and more. Go to usctrojans.com/3torches and sign up. Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, Max Brown, Keely, you're here for our weekly football roundtable. Plenty to talk about from a wild game. I mean, that was just a game right from the start. We had a 10-minute delay with the protest. We had a 10-minute delay at halftime, and just a bunch of wackiness in between. It was the most Pac-12 after dark game that ever existed during the day. It was just pure quintessential Pac-12 after dark. What if anything, do you take away from a game like that?
Well, my main takeaway is that you can finish the second quarter in the second half of a game. I didn't know that was possible.
That was new.
So that was the first takeaway. No, I think just there were lessons learned from the Utah game. I thought that they used Marshawn Lloyd and Austin Jones more. I mean, Marshawn Lloyd ended up being USC's second leading receiver. I thought using him as a pass catcher was a good move, and it kind of sparked things in the fourth quarter when USC was down by multiple touchdowns. So I just think leaning on the run game and making defenses honest. You know, I think it helps USC in the RPO game. So I think that was my main takeaway, that it really helped open things up there.
My main takeaway is exactly what Lincoln talked about in terms of that moment in the third quarter when you got the turnover, then you turned it over right after, and then you got a 3-and-out. You could visually see, I was watching the game on my couch, you could visually see how much more energy the entire team got, and I think that speaks to one, like, you know that it's in there, like they can unlock that. But then two, I also think it speaks to, like, you know, those first 2 quarters, maybe guys are playing with a level of anxiety because they know they're not playing up to the level that they need to, and it's on the coaches, it's on the leaders of this team to unlock that early on in this game, because everyone knows it's in there. It's just a matter of unlocking it early and then consistently throughout the game.
Yeah, finding a way to win that game was, I thought, the most impressive part of it. Now there's a lot of bad in there, right? The first quarter of defense, I've never seen a defense played like that before, giving up the explosive plays, and you could see the defense was embarrassed. They were getting kind of, you know, you could see Alex Grinch was really ripping into him on the sideline. So for them to bounce back like that, make some turnovers, create some plays where they were getting off the field and giving the offense a chance was impressive, because it's hard to bounce back in the middle of a game when you're getting whooped, right? When you can't find a play. And to turn it, to still have that fight, I think was the most impressive play. Because, like, I've been in a lot of those games where it's just like, man, it's not our day. Maybe we're not going to get. But these guys continue to fight, and they continue to scrap their way in the game and find some wins.
You know what's crazy about that game? It's a 50-49 game, 99 points between the two teams. USC defense got 9 stops.
Yeah, there was a ton of possessions.
Do you know how
much for the clock rules? Do
you know how many games this year the USC defense has gotten more than 9 stops?
No.
2.
Wow. Which games?
The Nevada and Stanford. 2 total blowouts.
Wow.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, the coach sort of said it afterwards. That's why I looked it up. It was like an NBA game in that sense. And you almost, like in the NBA, it's like, you know, you get cooked, you got to keep coming back. And it's like, that's sort of what you're talking about, is like, they got up off the mat. Like, you know, it's not a day that's probably maybe going to go on a lot of their resumes or show reels, but they made a lot of plays in a game where a lot of plays were made on them. 3 takeaways. There were 4 total takeaways, but 3 by the defense and 3 fourth down stops.
Yeah. I'm curious what you guys thought of Eric Gentry having a bigger role in this game. He obviously came up with a huge turnover, but I was curious from the defensive guys. I know you're not Max, but you're smart. What did you think?
I think for me, you just notice it. I mean, the one interception he got and the other one that he should have got, like, you notice that's a narrative we saw last year of his ability to command the middle of the field, and for defenses that are trying to attack that, he's able to really take over that territory. And I feel like for a lot of those guys, Gentry, even I know Shane Lee's been banged up and whatnot, but you haven't seen that jump from those guys that I think we expected in year 2 of this system. It was good to see that, and like Lincoln said, maybe that's the moment where they don't look back and they grow off that, and that's something you can build off playing a explosive Washington team.
And it's a turnovers for him. He created turnovers last year. He's created a turnover this year. I know the injuries were a problem early, and who knows why he wasn't really in the mix. But I mean, the guy is so long, and he just creates so many problems out there. Is it perfect all the time? No, but I mean, the turnovers and the length that it creates for the offense is you got to have to get the guy out there.
And I thought the biggest thing was that second half felt like the first time all year that they knew exactly who the 2 linebackers they wanted in were. I thought that was the best Mason Cobb's played all year, and we talked a ton about Gentry on the broadcast, but going back and looking at it, 15 tackles for Mason Cobb. He was everywhere. 2 tackles for loss. You know, he was really effective. You know, it's obviously sort of the ugly side of football, but like, knocking Jaden Ott out of the game was a huge moment in the game. I mean, Cobb came hard and made a physical play, and that's what people have been sort of asking for more of. And, Cobb and Gentry, to me, finally sort of solidified that position, and in doing so, they look more solid as a defense. As Coach mentioned, the gaps started getting filled consistently, and I think a lot of trying to find your best personnel has also led to, hey, I'm not as comfortable, maybe my communication with somebody, or maybe with just inconsistency. It feels like, I feel really good that they are going to start on Saturday.
Yeah. It took a long time, I think, to get to where they can find their guys, and that's because of injuries, like we said, you couldn't really find your guys, but now they found them. I think another issue was penalties. I think the defense in the secondary, ton of penalties on that back end, a lot of technique stuff they got to clean up. You can't play really good defense if you're just giving them 15 yards for pass interference all the time.
It was the most penalized game of the season, 11 penalties.
Yeah, got to clean that up.
I looked that up. Max, I'm wondering. When you go into a game as a quarterback, in football you don't play the other quarterback, you play the defense. Were you ever cognizant, though, of like, hey, everyone else is going to build this as Caleb versus Penix? Is that something that goes in your head as a quarterback?
Yeah, it's interesting because, I didn't have the runway that Caleb had to even get to that point. But I would imagine there's some of that with Caleb, especially the way that the national narrative shifted over the past 3 weeks, where even his odds to be the number 1 overall pick have decreased substantially. The Heisman odds have flipped. And now that the Penix and the Drake Mays of the world, it's more of a trendy thing to say that.
Shoulder.
Yeah, so I would imagine there's a little bit of that. I think that question is probably more pointed at Michael Penix to be like, this is his opportunity to show that he can play with the Heisman Trophy winner, and potentially for him, this is his Heisman moment. So I think that question's more front of mind from the Huskies standpoint. But you better believe, we've been around Caleb enough to know that he wants to prove a point, and this is an opportunity for him to do so.
Yeah, the stage is set again. However things have gone over the last 3 games, the Trojans are in control of their own destiny in the Pac-12, and they go into first place with a win on Saturday. So it's right there still for Caleb Williams to lead this team back to the conference championship. We'll see if he and company can get it done. Monster Energy, the official energy drink of USC. Unleash the beast. Fight on, Trojans, and fly on with ONT. Ontario International Airport is a proud sponsor of our USC Trojans. Visit SoCalSoEasy.com to book your journey through ONT today. And Trojans Live is sponsored by Pechanga Resort Casino, proud partner of USC football. Speaking of Pechanga, our over-under final segment is next. Trojans Live. Welcome back to Trojans Live on a Monday night. This is the best time of year. Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, Max Brown, Keely Orr. It's dark out. This is not the best time of year?
Are you saying that because of his costume?
I mean, I wasn't specifically referring to Halloween, but there's as sports, you got Washington in town on Saturday, a massive game at the Coliseum. Hoop season starts next Monday. The home openers next Thursday and Friday.
Sports-wise,
the sports calendar is packed.
Okay.
Oh, you're talking about
life in
you're
general.
more of a summer guy.
Lay it out
chat
on the
a
beach,
little bit. Yeah, no,
it's getting a little cold for me now.
Over Under is presented by Pechanga Resort Casino, proud partner of USC Athletics. Okay, here we go. Over Under 48.5 points for the winner's score this week. So the winning team scores 49 or more.
Oh, man. The over-under for both teams is like 76?
76, which would, that could have both teams in the 30s, theoretically.
I'm going over. I think both these offenses are legit, and I think if SC is going to win this game, we gotta put up some points.
I'm going under on that one. Stanford slowed down Washington a bit, and I think there's a little game plan out there maybe to slow them down. And
ASU really did.
But that's what's crazy is Stanford slowed them down. You're right. And what, they put up 45?
Yeah, but I don't think they scored a touchdown against ASU, right? I believe
they didn't passing
just kicked
touchdown.
Field goals and they had a defensive touchdown, right?
Yeah.
So watch that ASU film. Sean, watch that
under,
ASU film.
Or under.
ASU was the first team that sort of slowed us down too, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's a good point. I want to say under just because every game that we predicted this season has been not what we expected.
That's how I feel, Keely. We're on the same page.
Look at us.
I'm just going under because when you go, it's going to be 55, 52, it kind of never is.
Yeah. So
Lame.
I was trending over, but I want to keep this energy, Jordan, so I'll say under.
I will say, when you watch the Huskies this season, you can tell real quick if a defense has a game plan that is going to stop them or not. In the first couple series,
out quick,
it's either
they love that deep ball, and if you let them get over the top, they will hurt you, as we mentioned. We'll talk a lot about it during the Trojan Tailgate show. That'll go on at 2:30 on Saturday. And then we'll have the big kick on Saturday at 4:30, USC versus Washington. Thank you to everybody tonight. Thanks, Rick. Thanks for everyone booking the show, everyone behind the scenes. Have a happy Halloween from Sean and the team.
Happy thoughts.
Bye on, everybody.